What needs to change is the question. Like, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Randy, I was feeling super anxious yesterday afternoon. And I know I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before, which I've been doing great in terms of sleep recently, but the night before was an anomaly, and so I can probably link it to that directly. But what do you do in a situation like that and I know you work with a lot of people who experience anxiety, when someone is feeling anxious like I was yesterday afternoon, like to the point where I was getting angry. And anger is not a typical emotion that I mean, you know me pretty well. You can't imagine me like wanting to throw something, but I felt that way. Yeah. And I'm able to sort of repress that emotion. We were joking before the podcast started, like,
what was my memoir title?
The
Power of
repression. What Ryan was saying is like the thing that differentiates us from chimpanzees is the fact that we can repress. Really, what he was saying is we don't have to act on some of these emotions. Yeah. And so, noticing it obviously yesterday, but I felt super anxious. What do you talk to someone about if they're feeling anxious? What are some things to do?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. One thing, when you get to the anxious state, it's almost you're almost a little too far gone at that point.
Yeah, the water's already boiling.
Yeah, so you have like some of your rituals or things that you like to do that calm you down. Like for me, it is deep breathing, or like I was traveling here from South America yesterday, and it was a little stressful, and I just had that like almost a mantra, like, you can relax, you can calm down, just like kind of talking to yourself, which helps. But I think with anything that comes up regularly, like depression and anxiety and things like that, I like to look at it as becoming friends with it. And so when it comes up, being like, hey, what are you doing here? And how did you get here? And like, do you want to hang out? Okay, cool. Now you can go, and it's, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling anxious. Now I'm feeling anxious that I'm feeling anxious. And why am I feeling angry now? And
I need to get rid of this anxiety and try to push it out. It's the same thing with meditation, where one of the mistakes that I often get into with meditation is, as I'm meditating, I'm like, get rid of the thoughts in my head, push them out. And that's not the point. It's about watching the thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're saying watch the anxiety, watch the depression.
Yeah, and learn from it. It's like getting curious, because the body is constantly responding to its surroundings and trying to give us warning signs. So like pain is a signal from, the brain to a part of the body based on the information that it's gotten. So whether it is like a trauma or injury, sitting a lot, or an emotional response or something, your body, when dysfunction comes up, it's really trying to tell you something. And so when anxiety comes up or depression comes up, it's just like,
a signal.
Yeah, and it's like your shoulder hurting, and it's just
like something's up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to just like, as much as you can, remember that and be like, okay, this is what happens sometimes. Why are you here? Do your best to work through it. But then when you have calmed down a little bit, go back and look at maybe how you got to that point. Like, what was the recipe that caused that to bubble up, and start to like course correct a little bit or adjust this here and there. And you can probably pinpoint why that ended up happening,
Well, for me, I was able to say, hey, I think it's linked directly to sleep. And I don't know, Ryan has been struggling a lot with sleep recently. And those mornings where you wake up and we both have these like sleep tracker rings, and they just tell us how bad we sleep.
Right. All it tells me is that I'm gonna die a really, really tired human being.
Right.
Ryan's is an anxiety ring.
my average sleep is like 65, dude. It's so bad.
You shouldn't be alive right now. No, like if I get, there are a few times we were out on tour where I would get a 65 and I feel dead. You are the most durable person I have ever met. He was eating a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning. He came in here, just poured milk on it.
It's funny though, because it makes me sad, because I feel like, how would I be if I was getting like a 90 sleep score? I would be unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I have to get above an 80 in order to function, man. It's 0 to 100 scale, but like it heavily weighs deep sleep, REM sleep, and especially length of sleep. Yeah. And it seems to me like you really struggle with deep sleep, but in those mornings you wake up with a lack of deep sleep or whatever, you feel a noticeable difference, whether it's anger or frustration. The easiest things will frustrate you, and it does that with me too. And I think yesterday that was the problem.
Yeah, man. If I get up and I did not have a good night's sleep, like I could be making coffee and the ground spill a little bit, and I want to like throw my coffee mug through the wall, and then I have to check in with myself and be like, Ryan, buddy, I got this Mr. Rogers voice that kind of talks to me like
that's your inner wisdom.
It really is. It's
Nice.
like hey Ryan, you just didn't get good sleep. It's not that big of a deal. Like relax. Taking a lot of deep breaths like that. It's so funny how oxygen is anxiety's enemy, I feel like. Because for me, when I get to those really anxious states, like I do check in and kind of, appreciate, and I say appreciate as in like just try to understand why I'm at where I'm at.
The opposite happens to me.
But deep breaths, man, like really, really, it just helps me totally relax. If I could take 10 deep breaths, it's not like this instant magic cure, but it does help me to just take it down a notch. The other thing too, I noticed is that if I feel anxious, I will just eat a snack. And I'm not even hungry though. I just feel anxious. But then I'll eat a snack, and then like 9 times out of 10, like that's what it is. I was just hungry. I didn't even
blood sugar thing.
Yeah,
We're
I didn't
all
even
just
realize
babies,
it.
really.
Yeah, we are.
We need our naps. We need our snacks.
Yeah.
We need a hug.
Yes.
We're good.
That's right. Good sleep.
I found for me when I'm anxious, like yesterday, like I will catch myself when I'm not breathing at all. Like I'll just for 30 seconds at a time, I'm like. And then I realized, like, I looked at Bex yesterday at one point. I said, I'm not breathing right
Your
now.
face is blue.
What's wrong?
And I spilled a glass of water last night.
Oh, dude.
And like right as we were going to bed, and it infuriated me. And but I had to do the same thing. I had to sort of check in with myself, like, hey, it's just a glass of water.
Yeah.
You can clean this up.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. It's not a problem at all. This is it's not just fixable, but when I pan out for 5 minutes, the problem is going to be over with.
Yeah, I think the problem is like when we are in that anxious state, like maybe there is, whether it's sleep or maybe there's, something personal going on. It's like the little things bother us because for me, at least, I feel like when something little happens, like if I spill a glass of water when I'm a little bit anxious, it's like, Jesus Christ, I can't even pour a glass of water right. Like it's like this.
Yeah. Well, and this is where self-care comes in, because if you have a regular daily practice, you have some reserves for those stressful times. So if you're constantly depleted and you're stressed out, and then something happens that it's like not taking from anything, so you don't have really a lot to like cushion or comfort yourself. And so a lot of people, when they feel good, they don't really, they're just like, oh, I'm feeling good, I'm gonna just carry on with my life. But
or sometimes we also try to enhance the good, and we'll turn to things that are like bad for us, whether it's like drugs, alcohol, partying, staying up late, like whatever it is.
It kind of flips that feel good feeling,
right?
And so,
in a weird way.
Yeah, so it is really important to keep continually nourishing yourself, so when you have a moment or anxiety creeps in, you have something to pull from.
You have some reserves there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've never looked at it that way. I like that.